With the conclusion of Arc 6, I'm going to make a video of all of Subaru's deaths. Now do keep in mind, I am using the light novel canon for his deaths, so some deaths may be omitted. For example, there is one in Arc 6 which was cut, and that was the death to the Cabal in Arc 6 in the tunnels. Anyways, let's get started. Starting from Arc 1, we have the first death in Rezero. Of course, as we know, this is the death in the loot house, and it was caused by Elsa. The second death in Rezero is by Elsa again, and as we know, this is when Subaru confronts her and she kills everyone in the loot house. The third death and the final one for Arc 1 is the death in the alleyway by Can and Chin stabbing him and then pulling out the knife in his back. The first death in Arc 2 was due to melee and the cursed bite by the Beast. Subaru's next death was by Rem. Also keep in mind, even if Rem didn't kill him, he would have died of the curse anyway, by melee. The next death is the one that everyone gets confused on. Subaru's killed by Ram by a wind blade, and that's the reason why Rem says, "My sister is too kind." The final death of Arc 2 is actually Subaru's first suicide in the series, where he jumps off the cliff in order to save Rem. The first death of Arc 3 is when Subaru goes back to the mansion and he gets killed by Puck, who freezes him and tells him that he's actually too late to save anyone. The next death is also done by Puck, and in my opinion it's the best episode of Rezero, Season 1 Episode 15, and there we go. Puck kills Subaru again by freezing him. That means that Puck has a 3 kill streak and he currently has a UAV kill streak ready. The 11th death was due to Julius and Felix double teaming Subaru when he was possessed, so they all had a factor in his death during this loop. The next death is an Arc 3, Arc 4 intermission death where Subaru commits suicide upon hearing that Rem is comatose, and this is a sad death of course. Subaru's first death of Arc 4 is inside the mansion where he's assassinated again by Elsa, because she's of course there to kill everyone inside the mansion. The next death is by Elsa, who stabs Subaru in the stomach. If you're a web novel reader, you might be seeing some inconsistencies by now. The next death is of course the rabbit death, which is the most horrific death in Rezero in my opinion. The next death is suicide by Subaru. Keep in mind that if Subaru didn't commit suicide, it would have been game over for him. The next death is really weird because it's a culmination of different factors, and this is also known as the taste or kiss of death. The first death of Arc 5 is by Sirius, and what she can do for anime onlys is she can transmit the senses and emotions she feels to other people, and what she does is she throws a kid off of a building, and then when the kid hits the floor, she essentially transmits that sort of pain and emotion to everyone around, including Subaru, and that causes all of them to die in the same way, so they all essentially burst into blood and die. The next death by Subaru is also caused by Sirius. What she does is make a positive feedback loop which involves fear, and that essentially accumulated to the point where everyone in that town square died from fear, including Subaru. The final death in Arc 5 is caused by Sirius and Reinhard in conjunction. That's due to Sirius's authority. Reinhard gets called and he cuts Sirius in two, and that in turn causes everyone else to get cut in half, including Subaru, as you can see on screen. The first death of Arc 6 actually comes from when the Emilia and Anastasia camp are trying to get to the Pleiades watchtower, and then Shula, who's on the tower, 360 no-scopes the entire Emilia camp and Anastasia camp, killing them. The next death is very similar to the last one, but this time Beatrice and Subaru go their own way due to some trouble which occurred, and he again gets sniped by Shula, and then he dies as Beatrice watches him. The next death is the group you see on screen. They go mad due to the witch's miasma. That results in them killing each other. Anastasia gets cut in half, and Ram and Subaru die to Petra, who bites their heads off. The next two deaths are caused by Meili. Do keep in mind at this point Subaru does have amnesia, and Meili pushes him off the staircase 2 times in a row, resulting in him dying both times. Subaru's next death is when he's approached by Lai Battenkatos. Subaru, who has amnesia, doesn't recognize him, and Lai Battenkatos decapitates him and tells him to try better next time, hero. The next 2 deaths are actually Subaru getting consumed by the shadows, which is actually Satella, which is extremely weird because, as we know, in Arc 4, death there wouldn't have actually happened because Subaru was going to get consumed by Satella, but this time Satella actually does kill Subaru. The next death is by Reed, who kills Subaru. Do keep in mind at this point, Reed has taken over the body of Roy Alphard, and as a result he has a lot more freedom, and he kills Subaru because he finds him disgusting. The next Subaru death is another suicide by Subaru. This is when Shola is transforming into a scorpion, and she tells him to order her to kill herself. However, he declines and says, "I will save you," and then he jumps off the tower, and then Shola jumps after him, not wanting him to die. Again, we get another death where Reed Astria kills Subaru because he finds him disgusting and that he has to die. Subaru's next death was caused by Lai Battenkatos. Subaru and the squad tried to ambush him, but Subaru died in the resulting fight, causing Lai to smack talk him and essentially say good luck for the next one. The next 4 deaths are unknown who Subaru died to, because at this section in the web novel it's kind of like a death montage and it skips through 4 of the deaths. However, we do know Subaru has died, and he's died to various people, but we don't know exactly who he's died to. The next death that Subaru faces is by Shola. In this loop, he tries to run away with Meili and try and aggro the witch beasts away from the sand tower. However, that doesn't work and he gets shot and killed by Shola. The next 7 deaths are again used in a sort of death montage where it gets skipped and we don't know what Subaru has done or who he has actually died to. However, we do know from chapter 89 of the web novel that a large majority of these deaths were Shola doing it, but we don't know exactly how many were Shola and how many were Lai Battenkatos and how many were Reed Astria. So again, most of these deaths are unknown and are skipped. The final death for Arc 6 is again at the hands of Reed Astria, and again he kills Subaru because Subaru is, of course, disgusting. I hope this video was informative for those of you who are anime only, and if you're web novel readers, hopefully this was used to refresh your knowledge. That will be all for this video. In the description there will be a link to the source I used for this video, and look forward to my anime coverage, which will be happening tomorrow. According to the air date of this video anyways, I'll see you guys next time.